Start the recording. Sure, we'll record it. Why not? Now, how do I get my brother on here? Un momento, por favore. Adding someone to Blab. Yeah, I want to know how to add them in. This will be fascinating. Yeah, I realize this. Hold on. Time out, guys. Okay, Nick, there's going to be an empty seat. I've opened the seat in here. And let's see here. He's probably messaged me like, huh? Request to join the seat. We're going to get him in here real quick. Got a video going in the background. Let's see when he hops on here. Candace, hello. Yasin, hello. Robbie Slaughter, hello. Hey, that's me. 7 visitors are here. We're going to figure out who's all here and we'll be going. So tonight, we're going to be talking insurance, which I know is just the most riveting topic you have ever talked about. But as soon as Nick gets on here, we will get everything going. He's probably confused. We're trying to make it work. Looks like we're live here in Indiana. That's my little dot. You guys start responding on here, it's going to pull you in as well. So if you have questions for the insurance dude that we're about to have here, please let me know. We've got 10 people viewing right now. Questions? Oh, you can type. See, this is the first time using this. That's why you got to do it with somebody you know, like my brother. Oh, that's a question. So just so you guys know, you guys would like to ask. Okay, very nice. If you're wealthy, should you choose not to self-insure? Okay, thank you. I'll get that to Nick as soon as he gets on here. He's working on it right now. Like I said, this is the first thing that we've done on Blab, so I figured there would be different issues along the way. So I promise that we will get these ironed out as soon as he gets on here. I'm going to add this as, I'm going to star that, Robbie. So thank you. I wish I could drag that over to the questions. Let me go ahead and do that here. I'll do this. Paste that question. So now it's in there. It's now in our question queue. My brother's very confused right now. So my apologies. I was recording a video right before this. So as soon as I finished that video, I launched this. So anybody who's in the replan group right now is about to get a replan video. But that meant I was running behind for this. So we're waiting to see how Nick gets on here. If not, we'll just start letting me talk and do some awesome things. And we'll go from there. So we got an egg that came on. Robert, hello. Nick's having some issues. Hey, look, it's their first on Blab. Welcome them. Hello. Robbie, you got some great questions here. These are going to be added to the question queue as right this second. I know I'm personally going to say this is one that I can talk on while Nick is trying to figure this out. The question is, and this really comes to it's really of an economic question overall. Since your premium may increase of when you report a claim, isn't it to your benefit to lie if you can afford to cover the issue yourself? Very valid point, okay? And the point that's valid on that is, like, if you got in a car accident, if you're able to pay the person off the car accident, and it's going to save you more at that point of time than it will be to pay the increase in premiums, possibly. The insurance really isn't built for, on any type of insurance, really isn't built to cover all of your small issues. That's why if you look at something like the healthcare marketplace, they have catastrophic coverage. And a lot of insurances are really built to cover those catastrophic incidents. And on that end, and I'll make sure Nick answers this in the proper way, and he's been texting me, so he's working on it right now. But you cover yourself in case of the incident where you cannot pay that. So I'm going to have to agree with you, Robbie, that there is going to be a point at which it may be better and cheaper for you to pay off the incident yourself. You don't report the claim, but you can still file that. But these are more, hold on, there's my brother. Yes. Okay, well, I'm sitting here answering questions. Maybe you can answer a question real quick for me. Okay, so I'll turn him on speakerphone here. Nick is downloading Chrome right now to run this, and he's on the phone with me. So, Nick, the first question, I was just talking about it, was since your premiums on an insurance policy would increase, or most likely increase, on when you file a claim, is there an incentive to kind of lie or not report something if you can cover the issue yourself?
Yeah, well, there's two parts to answer that one. Yes, you can. You could lie and report or not report the claim, and that's totally okay if you want to pay everything out yourself. However, insurance has their own little way of trying to prevent all the small claims from happening, which is why they have deductibles in place. So if the claim is so small, they're going to have you pay for it yourself. You have to reach a certain amount of money before the insurance will pay. So it might be $500, might be $1,000, might be even upwards of $10,000, depending on what you choose.
So now, my question is on that. Say I have a $500 deductible and I file a claim. Does that claim go against my premium for the next year, and I still have to pay that deductible, or how does that work?
Yes, it will go against you the next year, but with the policies being so small in premium, for these policies, it won't affect it that much. We've been seeing people pay only about $750 to $1,000 for all these policies, so it can only go up maybe a couple $100 for the next year. So this is the premiums on these policies are so small that it shouldn't have that much.
Okay, so I hope you guys could hear Nick on that. Essentially what he's saying is, on some policies, yeah, okay, I'll repeat it as he's trying to get this up. He said there's two different ways that you can go about this. And the first one is you do lie and you just don't put it in there. That's completely okay on your end if that's what you choose to do. But you also have the deductible that kind of prevents the insurance company and you from having to file or having them pay out on really small claims. So what Nick was saying was, in like a personal incident or a personal case, if I was doing like a car or a house, I pay a lot for those policies. But for something like on the Amazon business insurance, most of the ones that he's getting set up for everybody right now fall between like the $750 to $1,000 range. And reporting a claim is only going to increase your next year's premium by about 20%, so up to about $100 to $200. And if you increase by that much and that cost you even more to pay it off, then you may not want to report it. But if it's going to cost you more than what it would cost with the hike in the premium, then you're going to have those issues. Make sense? Does that kind of sound right, Nick? Okay. Okay. So Yeah, you're fine. You just get on here when you're done. We've got 13 people joining. We got somebody looks like from the East Coast. We got someone down in Florida. I'm not sure anybody else is at. Whoa! I just killed something. Oh, it's a map. Oh, that's really cool.
I can see the question.
Okay, can you click to request a seat?
Yeah. It has used Firefox for the install. I can see the question.
You can see the questions, and you're not able to get on here? Okay. The next question we had is, if you are really wealthy and you're making a lot of money, should you ever choose not to insure yourself?
Business, or is this just in general?
This is just a general question. Like we had Robbie here that asked that. And essentially what he's asking is, if I'm making enough money and I'm going to be able to pay this off if something happens, should I even worry about it?
For, say, the Amazon business, some of these claims that could happen are going to be upwards of tens of millions of dollars. If you had that money, you could pay for it. Insurance is just going to be a very cheap alternative to that. There's a lot of self-insured, like for different kinds of insurance, like health insurance. If you think that you're not going to use health insurance, why buy it? If you are healthy and you don't want to pay that money for that, granted now with Obamacare you kind of have to have health insurance, but in the past, you didn't think you were going to need it. It's like life insurance. You didn't think, if you don't think you're going to have a chance of dying anytime soon, and you have money set aside, then why would you need it? It's just an alternative to save you for the Amazon business, to save you from the tens of millions of dollars that potentially could happen as you are in a suit. It's relatively cheap.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so right now, someone just asked, are we waiting for Nick to get on before we can talk about what insurance we should get for Amazon? Yes, Yasin, we're waiting on him. He's my kind of resident expert. Nick actually went to school for insurance and works at an insurance company, and he actually kind of being told that for his own business they couldn't find insurance, and he really kind of took that challenge on and tried to find some place that would offer it. Actually went through the whole presentation process, figuring out how everything needed to be done, and now kind of helps Amazon sellers with that process. And you can tell he's not a tech-savvy guy. I'm just kidding. He's having some issues with Chrome and Blab. This is the first time we've ever done one of these, so this does not surprise me that there's issues. I was recording a video before this, and I got on a little late, so it's definitely my fault on this. But Nick is going on there. So the reason I brought him on was over Christmas. We were talking, and my dad brought up a very valid point that I never really thought about. And essentially what it was that it is against Amazon's rules not to have insurance if you're selling over $10,000. Is that correct, Nick? Is that the number?
yeah, $1,000 for 3 months in a row.
Okay. So the point at which you have to be concerned about your insurance is if you sell $10,000 a month for 3 months in a row. So some of you who are on here right now may not be there right this second, but when that point happens, you're going to need to think about it. And as we were talking around the dinner table, it was around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, Nick goes, well, I can see if we can cover people at this. I've never done this before, but let's see what's going on. So he went in, talked to everybody, and they go, well, how about you put together exactly what that would cover? And there's actually a little questionnaire that he's now passed that goes to underwriting and helps out with that process. But what really happened is you can contact most insurance companies, and the moment you say e-commerce, they're just going to go, click. We don't want to talk to you. Sorry. We can't control what people are doing way outside of everything. So why should we mess with it? And it's a very good point. But there is something that we need to have, because if you're going in there and I'm selling, say, groceries, if someone buys something that I'm selling, eats it, has an allergic reaction, I'm technically still responsible for that product, even though I never physically gave it to them. It was all through the system. It was there. So they could actually sue me for the process. Is that correct, Nick?
Correct.
Okay, how are we doing on the blab? Are you about on here?
I'm going to try to get on with my phone. I just downloaded the app on there, so if I could get off here, I'm going to try to download it, just be on the phone, not get on the computer.
Okay, we'll try that then. So I'll keep going on the.
I see the question, and I saw the question from somebody about the open enrollment period. I can answer that one.
Okay, Robbie's asked about why is there an open enrollment period for health insurance in November and December?
Yeah.
Why can't you buy it anytime?
Yeah, okay, I can answer that question.
No problem. Do you need to hang up then?
Yeah.
Okay, bye. He's sitting there. He's in Indianapolis right now, and I'm in Newcastle. So usually I could just like pull him in the same room with me, but can't really do that today. But so yeah, he'll answer that one. So I actually went through the process of actually getting the insurance through Nick, and it's because I was concerned of the fact is what happened if something happened, and there's kind of a distinction that you have to draw a lot of your items. So like the first one is, are you a sole proprietor? Are you an LLC? How in the eyes of the law are you actually separated from your assets? So like if you are a sole proprietor, technically in the eyes of the law, hey, Nick's on here. Welcome, Nick. I'm going to accept Nick on here. Yay, we've got Nick finally.
Can you
Hey,
hear me?
Nick. Yes, we can.
Should I use my phone like
That way, like that.
Hey guys.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm glad we got these kind of these kinks worked out. So let's just dive right into this, Nick. We got people here. Kind of done a little background. I know you were listening on the phone here. Let's get into the questions. Now we're going to start with Robbie's about the health insurance. Can you go ahead and answer that? We are brothers.
Yes, we're very, very, very much like brothers. All right, so Robbie, I actually did a lot of my first thing when I joined Shepherd Insurance was to help the girl enroll people into the health insurance plans. Why do they only allow you to do it through November through December? This is you can actually enroll throughout the year if you have a qualifying event. So say you lost a job, you lost your insurance, situations like that will allow you to join in any time of the year. But through the open enrollment where you have you didn't have to have a loss open. If you didn't have a loss of coverage any other way, they do this so that you can have it throughout the year. It has the insurance companies get all the information together at one time. They get everything set together. You have a 1/1 effective date. You could have a 2/1 or 3/1 if you waited to the last minute. But this gets everything set in place so that insurance is there all year long for you. And you don't have the agents and you don't have the companies having people apply throughout the year. So it's a lot easier for the companies within the Obamacare laws to get the numbers correct and get the tax benefits for that. So that is why they only have it open throughout the 45 days in November and December through December 15th.
Okay, Nick. I know that like my workplace does that too. We only have open enrollment for the month of November, and other than that, you can enroll in certain benefits.
Yes.
Okay, the next question we had was, okay, so what kind of policy are we even looking at for insurance here, or for insurance in regards to Amazon? Is it just like a household policy? Is it a what the heck is it?
Yes, so it's actually just a portion of a policy. So there's 7 portions of a commercial policy. You can buy any combination of the 7. You can buy 1. You can buy 6. So this is just going to be a liability section, the general liability, and this basically just covers if somebody gets hurt through anything that you sell, you are covered. It's a very small, like I guess not small, but it's a very basic policy. comes with a lot of added benefits that you probably won't even use, but you can't take it off. This is a very small policy, as in since $1 million for $1 million in coverage for liability is actually really small, and so normally these hardly, yeah, I know, $1 million for liability is actually very small in the insurance world, and so these are going to be small policies, not going to cost very much. Sometimes we work with companies that have liability and they do in the tens to 20 millions, and we have to have a special underwriter there, because that's when the company starts to get a little nervous when you have that much exposure out there. So this is a liability policy for the Amazon.
Okay, so now are there certain, now some people are, I got a person here asking, like, are there certain companies that'll allow you to do this? Like, do I need to go to State Farm to go talk to these people? Who in the world, how do you find these people? Who will cover it? And how do you get in touch with those people?
Yeah, so like I tried, since I work at an assurance brokerage, I technically represent about 30 different companies, and I applied to all 30 different companies and asked, can you guys sell this insurance? I gave them a little bit of behind, what's Amazon, what kind of stuff I sell, things like that. Majority of them said no. Since I had two of them actually say yes, and that's Liberty Mutual and the Hartford, and they put that together special programs for me to sell to people. There are some other companies out there you could have, like the State Farms. They might sell it, but they're only a captive insurance company, so they have their own agents. So I can't represent them through a brokerage. So the ones that I can represent, I can only find two for that.
Okay. Now, do you find discounts? Say, this is a completely off-topic question, but like if I say I go with you and I'm able to do my car, my house, and my business, are there discounts for the business side of it attached to those other ones?
Yes, if you do, it's called multi-line discounts. So if any insurance company that you work for, any insurance company that you buy through, they will have multi-line discounts, typically 15 to 20% savings on certain policies. If you have homeowners, auto, life, health, the more stuff you have on it, the better the discount's going to be. This kind of ensures that they're not going to lose you as a customer if they have more than one line of yours. It's pretty safe for them. So they encourage that, and they'll give you a discount for that as well.
Okay, so as an Amazon seller, what should I be the most worried about happening? Like, I don't want to make everybody petrified that they're selling online and this could happen to them, but when should the bells start going off of like, hey, I should really consider this?
Whenever you start selling a lot of product, especially if you do private label, if say I go to the store and I buy a product for, let's try to do this, a Hasbro product. If someone does get hurt by that product, Hasbro is going to take the blunt of that lawsuit, since they created that product. We will be a part of it, but we're not going to take the majority of the suit. But if I'm a private label and I have people manufacture on my behalf, and we get sued, everything's going to come directly towards me. So it's going to come straight at me. I'm going to have to pay all the suit, and that's when you should be even more concerned once you start doing private label. You should be concerned before that, but that's when the bells would ring. I definitely need this insurance once private label you start doing private labeling.
Hey, Travis, if you need an insurance policy, talk to my brother Nick. I know you're doing some private label stuff over there. Just thought I'd give you some awesomeness there. But yeah, Nick is the insurance dude with that. So now, if I sell like grocery, beauty, and health, does that have any impact as well? I would think those would be the ones that people ingest and eat.
Yes. So the insurance companies, when I first talked to them, like we don't want to insure any of that, and that's going to be part of the underwriting process. Is what they're going to do is they're going to look at what you sell right now, and they're going to see if it's in their appetite. So they'll look at your store and they'll see exactly what you have. Certain things they might exclude. They might exclude certain items that you have for certain categories. So not like grocery, but they might exclude certain things. So that's all going to be decided when you apply for the quote, and the underwriters get to look at it. So it's going to be harder to get if you're solely grocery. It might be harder to get the policy than if you're just selling like toys. So the grocery and the vitamins are going to be the biggest concerns for the companies, but they're going to underwrite that and see if it's within their appetite.
Well, is that a pun because groceries are appetite? Never mind.
Yeah.
Then I guess my next question would be into that kind of area. Is it going to be cheaper for me? Say I'm not ungated in anything. Am I going to be able to get it cheaper than someone who's selling private label?
So, can you ask that
So
question?
say I don't have a private label product and I'm not ungated in like health, grocery, and beauty. Will my policy be cheaper than someone who is in those items?
Not necessarily. They're gonna have the same price for most of these policies because they're all going to hit the minimum premium, and that's going to be. I've been seeing unless you sell over $200,000, it's going to. I know exactly what the price is going to be for you.
What's it going to be?
$761 is what it's going to be per year.
What's that come out to monthly? Do you pay it monthly or annually?
You can pay it monthly. You can pay it monthly. We can set up electric fund transfers. But that's unless you sell close to $200,000, it's going to be $761, depending on unless you add some extra coverage on there, which you can add up to $5 million in coverage. I would highly suggest adding more if you want to. But that's something we can talk to if you're interested. The more coverage, the more protected you are. So it's not going to cost that much more.
Nick, I'm going to put this question up. Hold on here. This is a very good question from Travis. I'm going to actually put it up on the big screen for us. Question is, can you insure certain products in your Amazon store only, or like only our private label but not our RA and OA?
But basically, this policy is going to cover the majority of stuff. It's going to be a blanket unless they exclude it.
So there's really no price difference if I do just one of my products or if I do all of my products?
Yeah, it's hardly going to. The policy is so small, the premiums are so small, it's just going to blanket the majority of it. And I would highly suggest having it all covered, unless you're selling millions of dollars worth of private label for one specific product. This is just going to be a blanket. It might cost you $50, $60 more in the long run if you wanted to not cover everything. But I'd have to I would have to ask the underwriter, which I'm actually talking to her tomorrow, with any of the questions I didn't have the answers to. And I can ask her if you just want to cover a certain product, could they do that?
Okay. That was a very good question, Travis. I'm just wanted to make sure that we got that up there because I thought that was a pretty good one. We'll close that down now. Any other questions for Nick? I know he's been on here for 10 minutes and we can go into real detail. I mean, for me, honestly, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, no, I just want to get my charger for my phone.
Okay, go for that. I'll talk for a second. So keep calm and have a beer. Oh, sure, I'll do that if you want me to. But for $761 a year, I find it as kind of a sigh of relief. Now, Nick, I guess I do have one question. Say, like, my situation happened in May where I got suspended on my account. Is there an insurance that will help me if I pay for that? Say I have loss of income?
Your loss of income, you would have to purchase a separate policy. It could just be the second line of that policy, but we can look into that if you're worried that your account would get suspended. But we can look into that with them. I haven't asked them about that, but that would be a loss of income, which then would be covered if you were to buy that policy. So I got to look into that. I can't give you a specific answer for that, but that's something that if we can sell it, I would highly suggest if you're worried about your account getting shut down.
Oh, there's the phone charger. Yeah, Yasin, Hartford and Liberty Mutual were the two that he's found. Nick is actually authorized to sell on behalf of both of them and a ton of other ones. So my recommendation is, even if you don't if you just are interested. Send Nick a message. He'll ask some questions and kind of start the process. And you can have him quote your home, auto, everything. I mean, he works for an insurance broker, so he's going to be able to find you the best deal on that. And then he can kind of help you out from all of that stuff.
Yes. And since this program is brand new, we were finishing it up when the first person asked about the insurance policies. I've only been doing this Amazon thing for the insurance part for less than 2 weeks now. And so the underwriters are new to it. They're up for different ideas. So we're starting brand new. I like the questions that you guys give, and so that I know a little bit more about it as well. So,
and the cool part is that like I know that Nick went through all of the rules because I sent him all of the rules, and there's certain parts of the entire process that. So get it before they get wise how shady. Yes, Travis. Anyway, but there's actually certain rules that if you get from a company that has no idea about e-commerce, they may not put in certain clarifications or disclaimers in there during the underwriting process, and you could just be screwed. I know there's one that kind of excludes Amazon from certain things that I was reading on the rules, and you really have to know what you're doing you have to understand what we do as sellers. And there are very few people out there who actually do. So, and Nick, here's a question from Rob. If I'm currently a sole proprietor and plan to go LLC, should I wait to get a policy?
No, I go ahead and get it. There's someone I just sold a policy to. He doesn't have his LLC yet, but he's going to get it in the next few weeks. It's a simple call, and we can get it changed. It won't cost anymore. So I'll go ahead and get it now, get protection now, and then it's super simple to get that switched.
Okay. So now, what all things does it protect? Does an insurance policy for us protect? So can you give me a few different examples of an incident that would happen that'd be protected on?
Okay. I have a whole list.
Down.
I have a whole list of what I just printed this off today.
Can we have a copy of that?
I will put that together. I'll work on it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll put that to Chris. So yeah, it's a huge list. All right, so let's give you probably the most common thing that will happen. Say, let's go with that. You had a set of Legos, and some kid chokes and gets hurt on it. We're just giving an example out there, and he dies or something, and so they want to sue Hasbro because they didn't have something. I don't even know if Hasbro sells Legos, but the Legos down there didn't say that it's a choking hazard. Blah blah blah. The kid gets hurt or kid's dead, and they want to sue you for $1 million right then and there. They sue the Lego company and also want to sue you $1 million. So this coverage, of course, you want a lawyer to help you out. And so this coverage, your limit is $1 million. And we all know that the lawyers cost a little bit more than, a couple thousand. So the insurance company will pay above and beyond the limits. So say the lawyer is going to cost you $500,000 for this case that goes on for years. That's included free of charge from the insurance company. So say you lose the suit for $1 million and there's a $500,000 in lawyer fees, they pay the extra $500,000 above the $1 million limit that you had.
Okay.
So the insurance company is always going to protect you because they're going to be one in the pain. And I tell you what, the insurance companies do not like to lose. So you want them on your side. They hardly ever go to court. They'll settle out before they'll lose. So it's always good to have them have lawyers for you as well. It covers the biggest part is products and completed operations, and that's going to be if in case someone does get hurt. That's the biggest section, your product that you had for the private label.
Okay. We got a question up here, Nick. Do the policies provide... Oh, yeah, you just answered this. Never mind. We're just going to move along. You did answer it. It even says at the end of the question. You're answering this now. Yes?
Yes, so they cover the legal defenses above and beyond the limits, so you'll never have to worry about the insurance company not protecting you. They're going to be protecting you since they have a couple $1 million on the line for you. So,
it's like an incentive to watch someone, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
So now, okay, random question, Nick. If I say I want to come to you tonight and I tell you, hey, Nick, I want you to quote my Amazon business for me. Could you quote my house? Could you quote my car? Could you quote my personal umbrella policy and then life insurance policies? Could you do that?
Yes, it might take a little bit for me to do that. I'd have to work with the people in my office because I haven't quoted them yet. But the more you would buy through a specific company, the more discount you're going to get. So if that's something that interests you,
Does it cost anything to get a quote?
no, it's free. It's free to get a quote. You don't have there's no dotted lines.
Are you going to bug me with 10 million emails if I do it?
Oh, definitely not. It's free of charge. You're not signing up for anything. I've had a couple people get quotes and they say, I'm not interested, and that's perfectly fine. It's free. The underwriters, they just check it. It takes them a couple minutes to do that, but it doesn't cost us anything. So,
Okay, Nick, another question we got, and I'm putting it up here right now. You mentioned additional coverages earlier. What is the cost of those additional coverages that you mentioned?
yeah, so it's going to be a couple $100 per $1 million of coverage you get. So the first $1 million is going to be the $761, and it might cost $200 to $300 more per $1 million. The higher up you get, the less likely the insurance company is going to have to pay those claims because the claims don't often reach $5 million for them. So it's going to cost less and less per $1 million per $1 million. So about $200 to $300 per extra $1 million coverage that you would ask for.
Okay, and then I know this is going to be asked by a lot of people who are going to email me about this. How in the world do they get in touch with you if they want you to go, okay, I want you to quote this, and they never want to go any farther with it, but they still want to have you quote it so they know when it's time for them to get it, they know what the price is, or an estimate at least?
Yeah, I would contact me. You can either message me on Facebook. You could email me. There's many different email addresses you can email me at. You can email me my work.
I actually got him one, Nick
Yes.
at fbamaster.com. It goes to his personal email account. He'll email you from the work one. But Nick, Nick at fbamaster.com is a great one to reach him at.
I'm gonna write down my work one. I'm typing it in right now.
Okay, and somebody wants to know, this works for private label too, correct?
Correct. They just have to underwrite it, make sure it's within their appetite.
Okay, we got another question here. I don't understand this because I'm not in the insurance world, but I'll put it up for you and maybe you get it.
This is the most important part of the coverage.
The defense part.
Because defenses, it seems to me that it would be unlikely that we as sellers would find negligent. However, the legal offense might bankrupt the seller. Yeah, the legal defense would be covered on the policy. Is that?
Yeah, it's basically saying that as
I'm just making sure to answer the question. Yeah, the policy covers the legal defense if it's within the if it's a liability claim that is covered under the policy, it will pay for the legal defense. So you would not become bankrupt for that. You wouldn't have any money besides your deductible on the line.
What's an average deductible for these policies?
It depending on the claim that was made. It could be $500. It could be $1,000. It could be $5,000. Just depends on which claim is made. And I don't have those numbers with me right now.
Okay.
We just first few policies, and I'll be able to see the exact amount for each section later on.
So how many policies do you have under your belt right now?
Right now, today I actually sold 2. I have 5 under my belt total right now because we just started. There's about 10 of them.
Just so you guys know, backstory on this. I was one of his first to go through this entire process. And after that, he's had 4 more. I guess 5 wouldn't be including me, right? Because that was beforehand. But he's been doing this for people, and I'm kind of his guinea pig of sorts to try this stuff on, and I've loved it. I mean, it's been fantastic. I'm actually going to have him quote me the rest of the stuff later on because I don't want to have to mess with everything. And if he can do it all for me, then I'll switch to him. He's my brother. Screw it. I want to have somebody who knows the business.
Yes.
Sorry for the
Uh,
sales pitch, Nick. I'll pitch you. I don't care. It's my job. I'm your older brother. I've got a beard.
I did have one, but I had to get rid of it. I had to go to work today.
Well, I went to work today too. But
Yeah,
does anybody have any other questions? We got 28 of you on here. I've seen some questions.
I do want to stress something that I got to make sure to tell everybody. It's important if you ever do have a claim, if something ever arises, to let your agent and that company know immediately. The faster you notify us of a claim, the better chance it is it's going to be paid and it's going to be covered. Like it's a better chance. It's better for all of us. You tell us immediately. You don't try to hide it.
Why is that?
Because then the insurance company can begin their investigation process faster. The information will be newer for them. It just helps the case out for you if you tell immediately once a claim happens. So I make sure to tell everybody that when I'm on the phone with them, and they know that it's important to let them know immediately.
Okay. Any other questions we have, guys?
You can ask me anything about Chris too. I can tell you I've known him for 22 years.
I don't know about that. Maybe we can put that aside. Maybe it's time to go, Nick. Any other questions from anybody?
I know when I do talk to people, I normally do give them some little tips about FBA stuff as well.
What? You
I think
can't give away my secrets. Stop it.
I think a girl talked to me more about tips for FBA than actually insurance today. So it was pretty interesting.
Oh, well, I guess you're kind of a coach too.
Yes. Do you want me to stay on here for a while, Chris?
We'll wait for a few more questions. Anybody that wants to leave, you're welcome to leave. Otherwise, you got the two of the five of the Wilkies on here right now, so you can ask any questions you have. We'll answer them for just a few minutes here, and then I know I've got to upload a video. Actually, I'll just start the uploading process right now, so it can run in the background while you guys ask questions. It's funny how much this computer gets used. If any questions come in, Nick, let me know.
Okay.
No one. Everybody's really quiet. Thanks, guys. You're making me feel bad. You guys all typing messages to Nick. So business structure. Nick, is it better to be an LLC or a sole proprietor in the world, in the eyes of insurance and kind of governmental structure?
For you as a seller, I would answer you should be an LLC because it offers more protection for you as an individual. And so also with insurance, it's just better to have an LLC. They see it as a little bit more appetizing if you are structured as that. It's not like they're not going to accept you if you're a sole proprietor, but it offers more protection for you and the insurance company if you are an LLC.
Okay, so explain that for 1 second. I've got to go a second here. Could you explain what you mean by a little more protection?
Yeah, so in an LLC, if you are in a lawsuit, they can only they only sue you for what your company's worth, like your bank account for your company, the inventory, things like that, whatever your company is worth. But if you're a sole proprietor, they can go after your house, and they can go after your own bank account. They can go after anything that you own to pay for the suit. So it's always better to be an LLC because it gives you just a little added protection from your own personal, all your personal things. What does the subchapter ask about those insurable? I think that was one of the things on there. I would have to. That would be a question I can look at tomorrow when I ask the underwriter the subchapter 5 or chapter S. Okay.
Pierce the veil. Please explain that a little bit more. Not sure what that is. And while we're waiting on that, Nick, how'd you get started in FBA?
Well, it was it was during the summertime, I think, in between my junior and senior year. I went up to visit my friend in Chicago, And on the way back, I stopped at a couple of stores. I'd heard my dad and my brother talk about these frozen dolls and how much they're worth. And I stopped at a store and I found like 20 of these things. I only had a scanner because my dad gave me his password, things like that. He couldn't sell the frozen dolls. So I texted my brother. I said, hey, Chris, I have these frozen dolls I need you to sell. So he listed them and I sold all of them. Didn't know what I was doing. I almost didn't send it out on time. He was going to be really angry at me for that.
Yeah, I was very angry with you at that.
I sold all 20 of those within like a couple hours. And then after that point, Chris and my dad made me get my own account. They didn't want me to go through them anymore, which I don't blame them now. But I did that all my senior year in college. I went to a couple Walmarts and a couple Walgreens all the time and found a lot of stuff. And I learned a lot through him and my dad. So it was a slow process, made a lot of mistakes at the beginning, learned through them. And now I go to a lot of flea markets is now my thing to go to. And I go to Meyer. If anyone's around Indiana region, there's a lot of Meyers around here. I go there every lunch break, and I kind of scan stuff, a different different section each day. So I go there for an hour and I scan, see what things are worth.
Okay, so Nick, I think the veil question was based about how hard is it to break the veil that separates you, an LLC, from a personal account.
How hard is it to...
So say I was an LLC, I got sued. How hard is it for them to get to my personal possessions?
I do not know fully on that part, how to answer that one. I just know it's harder for them to get things through because you've protected yourself. I do not know how to answer that though.
Okay, that's fine. Any other questions, guys? Nothing?
Oh, someone just joined, I think.
Janet, any questions? Janet? Hello? No one? Okay, well, if anybody needs to get a hold of Nick, tell them one more time, Nick, how they can get a hold of you.
You can message me on Facebook. I'll type it once again. Or you can email me at several different email addresses. This is my work one that I'm typing. This one will get to you the fastest when I'm at work. You can message me on Facebook. If I don't get back to you, it might have went to my spam. Just message me, keep on bugging me, and I'll get to you. Either one. Okay.
Any other questions? Now, I'm going to give you a random fact about Nick, just so you guys know. And he has no idea I'm going to do this. One of the most fascinating things about Nick is he's my smartest brother I have, also known as my only brother. But back in high school, Nick was on the chess team and actually a chess star. So when this planning stuff happens, Nick is kind of the expert at the planning bit of it. But we had one other question here, Nick. Someone wants you to go over the deductible again, please.
All right. So depending on the claim, I don't have the numbers for it. I can have them tomorrow because we're getting the policies issued tomorrow. I can give you the answers for it once I go through it. The only deductible that I do know, if you get an umbrella policy, the extra $1 million of coverage through an umbrella, which is going to be pretty cheap. The umbrella is going to be $10,000 for that. That's only if you reach into the umbrella. So umbrella is like your policy is $1 million coverage, and the umbrella sits on top of it, and that's going to be an extra $1 million. And if you use all the $1 million on your first policy, to be able to start the next million, you have to pay a $10,000 deductible, and that's going to be that's the lowest the Hartford will go. So that's the only deductible I have right now. The other deductibles I'm going to get tomorrow with the policies that got issued the last few days. I don't have the specific amounts for you. I can send that to Chris. I can post that on a certain. If you give me your contact information, I can send that to you tomorrow.
Okay. Any other questions? Bueller, Bueller? Nope. Okay. Well, I thank everyone for joining us tonight. Feel free to reach out to me or Nick at any time. We'll be able to help you with this stuff. I think this is something that most sellers need to learn about because nobody will ever talk about this. They always say find insurance and never tell you where in the heck to find it or why you should even consider it. But if you sell over $10,000 a month for 3 consecutive months, it is in Amazon's rules that you must have insurance. So you are breaking the rules if you don't do that. Also, if you sell a private label product or are thinking about it, or are you in the grocery, beauty, and health side of things, you definitely want to consider your insurance, especially for the cheap fee of $761 a month or a year. I mean, I do my calculations real quick. 761 divided by 12, you're looking at $63.42 a month for coverage. You don't have to worry about it.
And it's for your company, which that's you can take that off your taxes if I remember right.
Oh yeah, you get to take that off your taxes. So if you take 30% off there, you're looking at about $50 or a little less per month just to have your coverage and never have to worry about that kind of stuff. Okay, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining us tonight.